Well, it's the beginning of the week, and I was going to say happy Monday, everybody, but I don't think I want to say happy Monday anymore.
Okay.
Oh, we're having trouble streaming.
That's okay. Michael Chuchung will take care of that. No big deal.
You just got it? All right. So I hope you all had a great weekend. And I don't know if you all heard the news, but we lost two freedom fighter patriots this weekend. Mr. Doug Force has been in and out of the hospital for a while, and unfortunately, he has succumbed to his health issues. So just want to say our condolences to Mr. Force's family and
Right.
close friends. He will definitely be missed. He was a force to reckon with.
That's true. Most of you know who he was. He toured across Canada with The Myth is Canada, teaching people about common law and their rights. And he will be missed.
And David Romanleski, he was there, the freedom fight. He stood up against the police. He was, got mischief charges like many people. He was appealing all the way to the Supreme Court, and I believe March 11th, he actually heard that his appeal was being accepted and going to be heard at the Supreme Court of Canada. And over the weekend, he fell and has passed. So
still investigating, still looking into it, seeing if it's natural causes. He just collapsed one day, and that was it. So. Yeah.
Exactly. So again, our condolences to his family and his close friends. I know Dave Freedom was working very, very closely with him in his legal challenges. And Dave, you've been doing amazing things for the movement. And I'm very sorry that you have lost your friend. What a shock to everybody. So I just wanted to say that. And that's why I didn't want to say Happy Monday.
Right.
Because a lot of stuff have happened over this weekend, and we lost some really great people this weekend.
Yes. What a horrible way to lead in for a guest, though. I'm sorry about that. We're absolutely share your grief and loss and condolences for sure. And on that note, we're going to do some victories, some not so much victories. We got some good news, some bad news. And we're going to bring on our guest, finally coming to the show, Katie from the Ostrich Farm. Finally. I feel like it was a hard-fought battle, not compared to what you're doing, but just to get you on the show. And we finally got you here. So we're glad you're here.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you to your audience. Thank you just for sticking with me through the past few months. I don't know what's going to happen from morning to night to just 1 hour at a time. And this far I've been blessed. So we're blessed as a farm. So yeah, thank you for having me here.
Yeah, you were supposed to be on before, and then you were like literally backstage, and all hell broke loose, and we lost you. So we did the show without you, as if you were there in your memory. And then it was like last week we're going to have you on again, and then you had this court case, and it went on like for days. We decided better to postpone. So. And
that was, thank you so much. We had discoveries last week, Monday, Tuesday, and those discoveries were quite eye-opening as a farm. And we kept saying too, as the public, we should be really concerned about that as well. A lot of the things that we found just in the discoveries and the things that we heard from the higher up officials from Canadian Food Inspection Agency, which we talked to. But then at the Wednesday morning was supposed to be our one expert witness, which was Byron Bridle. And they canceled that expert witness. They didn't want to discover our expert witness Tuesday night. So, which again, to me, I mean, I don't know how you can have a fair judicial review when we don't even have a chance to have our expert witness, discovered. But during those discoveries, I guess I just would love to mention to you guys, let's go with the victory, which is amazing, is 69 deaths or 69 days. We are symptomatic, no symptomatic deaths, 69 days. So nice. All happy, amazing, beautiful ostriches. And they have their herd immunity, which we knew they would have. 3 days we've been in quarantine. So it's been a very long time. Feels like a lifetime, but we're tired, but we're stronger than ever. And those ostriches out there, I think where we're at right now. So that's the good news. We had a very unfortunate incident happen on Thursday night, and somebody took it into their own hands to come out to our farm in the middle of the night. And and shot one of our 12-year-old hens. Sorry.
That's okay.
No,
That
it's
is
okay.
okay.
They're family.
Her name was Sarah,
Mm-hmm.
and she was named, and she was a pet, and she was healthy, and she carried something what this world needs. And that was hope. And that was a possibility to offer the world something that could help stabilize what we're going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you know how that happened, we're pretty sure. I mean, this is because we're not being educated. We are being put under a place of fear.
Yes.
And I think it's really important as a collective that we come together and we help educate each other about it, rather than make each other more fear based. And where that is where it leads back to is those discoveries, because those discoveries they kept mentioning in there, testing. Well, you could test, and we test, you test these animals, you do this.
Mm-hmm.
We're running off 2 PCR tests that were
Right.
at the beginning of this. They've never been back for more samples, even per our request. If we were still threatened that $200,000 fine and 6 months in jail if we test our own animals, or if we treat our own animals, which they know from day one, because avian influenza has never been found in ostrich in Canada. So
Right.
avian influenza was not on our radar when we started having our deaths and we had symptoms on our farm.
Right.
So during that, yes, we haven't had testing done, even though that they talked about testing constantly through discoveries. And then one thing, and I think we need to all be aware of this, and it is so alarming, is their main focus of that, of the discoveries too, is that all outside animals pose a risk.
Yes.
So they said, because all outside animals, so just remember this, cattle farmers and, dairy farms and goats and swine, dogs, your cats.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that because all outside animals are around and they're being introduced to migratory birds,
Right.
that they pose a public risk. So, I mean, so then this goes, they kind of go in a revolving circle, because they say to us as a farm, well, we have to kill all your ostriches, even though they've hit herd immunity. They're probably guaranteed they're not shedding anymore. Like there's an incubation period in an animal.
Right.
We are well over it, and they are creating up the public sphere of like public safety is at risk.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't tested our soil. They haven't tested our water. They won't allow us to test. And I'm sure we all know, as animal owners or livestock owners, the people that know your animal the best, it's you.
Yes.
So not be able to go to our animals that we've raised for some of them 35 years and not be able to go take a sample from them and actually go get it ran properly, or even take some of those animals that succumbed to their illnesses back in December, early January, and not to do a tissue sample, which is the gold standard of samples, not PCR tests.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
To be able to do this and rule out anything else, it's a narrative. They have a narrative. They had their own idea of what they wanted to find, and they found it. They ran a PCR test, however many cycles, and did whatever they wanted, and they drove away with the samples that they knew, with getting the results that they wanted. So, it is really worrisome, and it should be for all farmers, because if every animal out there poses a risk due to it's being out there with migratory birds, then there's no stopping it, right?
Right. I'm just going to stop you. You've gone over so much. We could already do an hour with what you've just glossed over. Now you talked about we need to just re-educate people.
Yes.
So, and then you talked about the government putting out basically false information and causing fear within the community. So let's unpack that part of it a little bit. Because ultimately what I think I'm hearing right now is the government's actions has led to that ostrich's death by causing fear in the community. So what are they doing as far as fear campaigning going?
I would say the fear campaigning is absolutely just uneducating. Our news out there constantly saying the fear of that this could jump to humans. This, we're not talking about the incubation period. We're not talking about as long as there's migratory birds, we'll never be avian influenza free.
Right.
There's this false narrative out there that if you kill if you're going to kill the ostrich farm right now, you're saving humanity. Like how is this a thing? If you kill the next farm and you cull the next farm and you cull the next farm, you're saving humanity. You're not. You're putting humanity at risk. You're taking away our natural immunity.
Yes.
And that's never been discussed, and nor have a lot of people. And in their defense, we're busy, right? We like to listen to the news and we want to trust the news. But at the same time, people haven't been asking the question, well, what would happen if all of our animals with natural immunity die? And that is a huge catastrophic event all in itself. Because if we wipe out natural immunity, we have zootonic diseases, we have breakdown in ecosystems, we have naive and animals with weak immune systems. That's where you get mutated diseases. And the fear-based campaigning is they only come out with the things that we should be scared of, not about educating us about what is H5N1.
Right.
Where did it start from? How does it get spread? We never hear on the news the incubation period of it. Do some animals survive? Do they all die? We don't talk about the education behind it. And I think, I really feel confident, and we have such an incredible team behind us that they really, really want that to be part of our platform, is educating people and educating communities like the one that we have, that we are not risk. We are actually a really, really big backbone to our community because we have almost 400 animals with natural immunity now. They have antibodies to this virus. So they're actually helping the ecosystem. They're helping the animals because as they've been exposed, they're stronger, they're healthier. And as Joel Saltine, I never say his last name, the farmer, I loved it. We had a chance to talk to him, and he said, "You don't kill the survivors." Like, where in the world did this become the theme? If you have survivors, they're the strong ones, and they're the ones that we should be using to breed and go forward.
Exactly. You could liken it to human beings. We don't go and, if your child comes home and they've got the flu, you don't go and kill the entire household. That's just not what you do. You work your way through it. If you need to medicate, then you medicate. Otherwise, you let the body do what it does. And then it's stronger next time. And then everyone else in the household who is exposed to that, they'll either get sick as well, or their body will just naturally react to it. And now you've got a household now that has, as you said, natural immunity to that strain. We don't go and shoot up and kill our household or schools. A child comes to school sick. We don't all of a sudden, one, quarantine the whole school, and then two, euthanize the whole school in order to save the rest of humanity. We just don't do that. So why on earth would we do that in our animal populations? It makes zero sense.
It does. And then if you want to look at it another way, I mean, when you have, even if it's dairy cattle or cows, or even if it is a chicken farm, outside chickens, you say if you have some losses and you notice that there's something wrong and you get them, you should have this organization as your backbone. And you should be able to go to this organization like Canadian Food Inspection Agency, not be afraid of them, because what happens when you're afraid of them? Who's going to report it? Like, so you should have somewhere you trust that you call and say, hey, yeah, I think might have a problem. Could you come out? They test your animal and say, yeah, this is what we're dealing with. This is how you properly dispose of these animals. We're going to suggest and help you with your protocols and guide you through your process. But even if it's, say you have 6,000 chickens and 4,000 die, you have 2,000 that are amazing. And those are the eggs we should be eating. And those are the eggs we should be breeding. And those are the eggs because those are the healthy ones.
Exactly.
So, the beautiful thing that we have on the ostrich farm is we've been naturally vaccinated by Mother Nature. Yeah. So vaccines are always such a, go-to vaccinations and stuff. Well, why would you eradicate a farm that's been naturally vaccinated?
Right.
Exactly.
We're naturally vaccinated, and we're a good example of what we can do in the future. So,
right.
But that being said, your farm is proving we don't necessarily need vaccinations either in order to survive what might be the worst of the worst. Our bodies are amazing machines, including animals. We have these immune systems that get boosted naturally, and then the next generation is that much stronger for it. But we know if they can prove that happens naturally without pharmaceuticals and without natural culling, then who needs vaccines anymore? That's a whole lot of money gone.
It is. And, where we stood there too is like, we have just such a beautiful opportunity with our farm. And that's what we tried to say to them at the beginning when this all started in beginning of December or mid-December, sorry. And when we first found out, it was the 28th, that an anonymous tip came in saying that somebody was sure we had avian influenza. And before that, we started, we had the same symptoms on our farm that we did in 2020. And in 2020, we did the appropriate thing and we phoned our vet, and our vet did the appropriate thing. And our vet said, okay, we're doing a tissue sample, gold standard sample. Let's do the right testing. He did a tissue sample, came back positive for Pseudomonas bacteria. So we did our own protocols, cleanup. The Pseudomonas bacteria is not a reportable disease. It's not reportable. So we did all the right things. We had about 300 ostriches back then. We lost about 10. So anyways, speed up to December, we start noticing that we had the exact same symptoms of Pseudomonas bacteria in 2020.
Right.
So in 2020, we got our herd immunity. Everybody was good. December, we phoned our vet. It was kind of close to the holidays. And at the holidays, sorry, my dog is barking. We told CFIA, we were on the phone with them. We explained that we had to call into our vet, but our vet was on holidays. He was going to get back to us as soon as he was back. And they were trying to get a hold of him. We explained the symptoms to Canadian Food Inspection Agency. They said, this does not sound like avian influenza at all, because if you would have normally, if it is avian influenza, they'd all be dead. They would not be getting sick, and then they would be getting better. They would all be dead. So we let them. They asked us if we had a couple more dead to call them. They didn't ask us. They didn't come out and just test our birds alive, our healthy birds. They asked us for 2 deceased animals, and we had a couple deceased. We called them, and again, remember. Avian influenza has never been found in ostrich in Canada before. So this was not on our radar. We were very much, absolutely, let's rule this out, thinking that this is an organization too that is going to somewhat work with us. We're a research facility. We were not a commercial poultry farm. We were very alarmed even why Canadian Food Inspection Agency was at our house, because we weren't selling eggs to eat, meat to eat, nothing like that. In the last 3 years, we've become a research facility based on antibodies. But anyways, we let them come out. They did their 2 PCR tests, an oral and a rectal off each animal. And this animal had been laying there dead for about 16 to 18 hours. And so it wasn't a fresh sample.
Right.
And then they took this PCR test off. They have no chain of custody of it. And they went to the Abbotsford, came back from the Abbotsford lab the next day that we were positive for H5N1. And they just said, all your animals are set to be killed. And we, at the same time, very important too, when they did those PCR tests, we asked them, we said, can you please, would you test some of our ones that have, we had one whole side of our farm that had never had any issues, no symptoms, no death. And then our younger ones were the ones that we were seeing the symptoms in, and we were having the deaths.
Right.
And when we asked them if we could have PCR tests on the other ones, they said, no, sorry, that's not possible. So that's really important. And we have witnesses to this. It's not. A really interesting fact, though, is in 2020, whatever came through our farm, all of those ostriches on the one side of the farm that are older than 2020 and older, not one of them has been sick to this, and we didn't lose one, showing that they had an immunity to whatever we have now. So it was just our ostriches that are on our farm from 2020 on that were experiencing the symptoms.
Right.
So yeah, it's been a big, long journey, and then now it's just been fighting for their lives, because on January 2nd, they asked for a big interview with us. And my mom did a 5.5 hour Zoom call with a bunch of CFIA and higher officials. And they said to her, they just wanted to know everything that we were working on, our business plan, everything. They wanted to know what we were working on, the research, how we did the research, where we got the research from, saying to us that they were very interested in everything that we were working on. And it could help us save our farm. We didn't know this until now. On December 30th, they already signed a quarantine order. And after we received the same day of the test, they already signed the order to kill all our animals. So at the 5.5 hour mark of that Zoom call, my mom said, are you just probing me for information, or have you decided that you're killing all of our animals? No, not yet. Like, no, we're really interested. But they already decided that they already signed it. Why would you sign the order if you were actually going to use our research and you were interested to see what we were providing?
When you say they, who actually signed the order? What person?
There was there was a couple people on the quarantine order. I can't pronounce his name. I'm unfortunately sorry. But there's and I forget who was actually signed the order. I know we had Courtney Fotheringham in there. We had Troy Burke. We've had Mark Holland. I mean, I keep saying he's our Minister of Health. Like, he's the one who is the Canadian Food Inspection agency's boss.
Right.
It is so bureaucratic and so high up that they keep saying to us too that it's because of our trading partner policies is why we have to do the stamping out. Stamping out it's the gold sealed, it's the number one go-to thing is to stamp out all the animals in an infected zone in an area. Mm-hmm. So, but when we asked too, we said, well, then what are we going to do about the mallard ducks? Because we had about 300 to 500 mallard ducks that just flew in, and they stayed because we have food. We feed our ostriches, and then they would eat the leftovers. Yeah. And they think that it's because we have a pond on our property that's why they really like to be there, but it was frozen solid. So It wasn't because of the pond. Yeah. And when we asked about the mallard ducks at our kitchen table with Canadian Food Inspection Agency, they said, that's wildlife. What are you going to do? Kill all the wildlife? That's absurd. And I'm like, so you're going to killing our 400 flightless ostriches that are put under quarantine, mm-hmm. not being sold for any consumption, but eradicating all the science that we have here. That's going to save humanity.
Right.
Like none of the dots connect.
No.
Right.
Yeah. And
No.
yeah.
No,
So if you're speculating, what's the real reason for having to get rid of your birds?
If we're speculating,
Yeah,
I
we're
think
just going to speculate here.
I think we're being used as a precedence. If they're able to kill our almost 400, 300-pound animals, we're a large cull. We are not a small cull. So
Right.
remember that we're probably one of the larger ones that they've had to initiate in Canada. That I think it just sets a precedence that the fear tactics make the public feel like they're that they're at risk, and then they can go to the cattle farm down the road. And then because now the mallard ducks are down there, and the mallard ducks, they don't just stay at our farm either. They fly away through the day and they come back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they're just flying around, dropping little H5N1 poop bombs. But somehow it's our ostriches that are the real villains.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we think you're right. That leaked video came out last year.
Last
and
May or
they had
June, yeah.
Talking about planning on doing this very thing. What an easy target for birds. Birds are such an easy target, and it's a quick sell from there to cows. So I think you're exactly right. Do you think the research and the science end of it has something to do with it?
How can I not? And how could we not? We have something that we have absolutely proven science. We're not at the beginning stages of it. We're at the usable stages of it. And we have antibodies that have been proven to help stabilize COVID-19, whatever the strain was, because we do have a strain of a virus, and we were able just to use antibodies towards that, showing that it could help neutralize it. We have a stockpile of H5N1 antibodies that have been developed, and they were offered to the Canadian government by Dr. Tsukamoto in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
That fell on deaf ears. There was absolutely no response to that. And then so we put a big hole in their plan. It's if we had something natural that could help stabilize something like this in the world, then we wouldn't need that $590 million that was given to Moderna for developing a vaccination. We wouldn't need the 550,000 doses that we just bought in Canada of vaccinations. So.
Right.
Well, also, those vaccinations are still under emergency use authorization, which gets pulled back if it's determined that there is another alternative method that is a proven method to cure. Yours would be an alternative natural method to cure that works. Therefore, the emergency use authorization should be pulled off. In fact, it should have been pulled off a while ago when they started talking ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and what have you, but it still hasn't been. And here is another proven scientifically, not just recently, but years long, scientifically proven something that works. How does this affect the pharmaceutical industry that's making billions of dollars off of these vaccines that are being forced on everybody?
It's just really strange too, because you look at what we have and go, the pharmaceuticals companies could do something good here for once.
Mm-hmm.
You can take this. You can make money off it still. We're not saying we have to go give it to everybody for free. Make some money off it. But I'll tell you right now, I'd much rather give that to my daughter or my son or my husband or my father or my mother. I'd much rather try antibodies. And I'd rather try to strengthen their own immune systems and combat different things in the future rather than, so we have always said this from day one, like, why aren't we working together? I thought science was meant to be challenged, and science is supposed to grow, and we're supposed to evolve with science. We're not supposed to just stay in one spot. And that's what we have here, is something that could help humanity, and Canada wants to kill it. And it's, and so then, which leads us, to that next point to other farmers out there. If we can't save our farm with all the science and the proven data and the research and everything that we have, if you think that your 1,200 cows are going to be spared, like, yeah. And then they just put so much bureaucratic tape and policy and everything behind it. And they want to bleed you dry with money. They want to bleed you dry mentally, and they want to emotionally bleed you dry.
Yes.
And then until you just give up. Or it was made very clear that, I mean, so if you take our almost 400 ostriches off our property, we kill them all, we clean up, and then they say, well, why couldn't you just bring on like another 300-400 ostriches, young ostriches? And it's so silly. I think they must think we don't think.
Yeah.
And then because we're like, well, they're still outside with the migratory ducks.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I mean, that's the risk you take. So say a farmer actually does that. They have to go through the cull order, because if you're a cattle farmer, you can't live under quarantine forever. I mean, imagine feeding 1,200 head of cattle.
Nope.
And then so you kill all your cows. You bring a whole bunch of naive immune system cattle on that have never been exposed to this. Excuse me, sorry. And then they're still exposed to the migratory ducks that are always going to be here.
Yes.
Then you do this maybe twice over, and then finally the farmer gives up.
Yes.
Because it's not worth it. And I think that they just want all the farmers to give up. And we're just trying to say we can stop this mistake right here. And that's what we're standing for, is before Canada or the World Animal Health Organization makes another mistake, let's stop it from being made. Let's come up with a better solution, and let's protect each other, because it's totally possible. And that's why we're here. We have an option. So then last week too, they just slapped us with a $10,000 fine. So the $10,000 fine is for saying that we didn't report a reportable disease between December 11th and December 28th. But they know very well we did. We did what was right. We phoned our vet. We have all the records. And so again, it's another tactic. It's another antic just to waste our energy, our time, money, because it's $10,000, not $9,000. Otherwise, can't even go to small claims or do something with it. It's at that mark where now we're going to have to fight that legally. But again, we're just trying. We wake up every morning and we just try to do the right thing. And we know the right thing is to fight for natural immunity, because you don't kill the survivors. And we are in a world of hurt, and the world needs to be educated in a kind and friendly way about the power of natural immunity and the power of antibodies, because without it, when you have cattle on a farm, you go to the auction, but you're also looking for the strongest bull, healthiest bull, good genetics.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if we just end up not having any of these genetics left anymore? Well, we do know what happens. Then we rely on factory made meat, and we rely on things that we're going to have to rely on the government for, because I mean, 3 months ago, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to put it all together. And that's, I think, what the ostriches are opening up a lot of eyes. And they're just opening up a lot of hearts, because they are big and beautiful and lovable. And we're just making people aware of the catastrophic ending that this could have if we keep doing this farm to farm.
Yeah. Do you want to show the video of the ostriches so people can see exactly what it is that we're talking about, or who it is we're talking about?
Sure.
Sure.
Yes.
Look at them. Wow.
I know. And they are not, as you can see, they're happy, healthy, walking around, eating in the sunshine. There's a couple of videos too. My mom, you'll hear her in the background going, pretty bird, because they start dancing. And yeah.
Right.
Look how big they are. Wow.
But you can imagine, right? Through almost 400 of them, they were expecting us by February 1st. We were supposed to go out there with our own hands, and we were supposed to murder each one of them. And we were supposed to dig their hole, and we were supposed to bury healthy animals.
Yes.
It's absolutely mentally wrong. You don't kill, it's animal cruelty. You don't kill healthy animals. Yeah, it's been really hard, and I think it's been hard, but the support has been incredible.
Mhm.
People have reached out from all over the world, and that's where I just keep saying the world is watching,
Yeah.
and the fight is not just for our farm. We are fighting for just doing the right thing. We're fighting for the next farm and the next farm and the next farm to have alternative options rather than seeing all of your animals get murdered, because it's just not it doesn't have to be one size fits all. And I think we've gotten to a point where we need rapid change, because mass culling is not working either.
No.
And as long as we're not going to do something, kill all the migratory birds in the world, then we need to come up with a different plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But
your farm falls right under Bill C-293 that they're trying to push through, right? If they can succeed in setting precedent with your farm, now they've got legal precedent set, and they don't have to argue this at the end of the day with any other farm. They just come in and say, nope, there's already legal precedent. Plus, we have this legislation that is now through, and foreign dignitaries and NGOs that don't even live here in Canada get to dictate now what happens on our farms. And as you said, they're looking at all outdoor animals. That's our pet cats. That's our pet and our pet dogs, right? So if they're allowed to do this on your farm, then 100% they'll be allowed to do it on every farm. But what stops them then from stopping at someone's front door with their puppy and with their kitty cat, and then with their budgies, and then their fish in their aquariums? It's a never-ending chain of culling out of fear and not out of knowledge.
no.
And
Right.
we all know that further demoralizes society when animals typically have healing effects on people, not just medically, but emotionally and mentally healing effects on people. So when you cull all of that, you demoralize the people even further into the depths of despair.
Well, we're at such a different time. I mean, the US is looking at all their policies. There's a lot I don't agree with. And then there's a lot that, if we're going to base everything on our trading partner policies, maybe we should be looking at our trading partners and seeing where they're changing their policies and how they're looking at stamping out natural immunity and how that's going to affect their country. So, and we've had some amazing experts. We have Steve Pellick and Dr. Byron Bridle, and we don't just have some people that came off the street and said, "Hey, I'm pretty good at this stuff. I have a good opinion." We have people who have years and years of experience in epidemiology, immunology, and we have these people saying to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, even, "Hey, like, we can test, we can prove to you they're not shedding. We can prove to you that they're not a public health risk." So, and that's what the public should be more concerned about. Wouldn't you as the public want this organization to just say, "Hey, yeah, no, we're okay with, as long as you can prove that these tests, that they're not shedding, and you can prove that they're healthy, you get to keep your animals." Because that would also eliminate the fear from our public, right?
Yes.
Why would you make, well, we do know why they're creating the hype, but and I just catch myself. The one side of the brain, right side of the brain says, "Well, this is what they should do," and then the left side of the brain is like, "But they don't want it to happen."
Yeah, it's nuts. And so they'll fine you if you test and prove that they're not sick.
Yeah.
They will refuse to listen to your experts.
Yeah.
They don't want to reason with common sense.
No.
They clearly have an agenda that they're trying not to. They're not even hiding it anymore. I mean, it's obvious. It's funny because you said, "Well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist," but conspiracy theory is it's a psychological warfare word to shut down debate against the government. That's all it is. I remember talking to you. You said, like 2 years ago, you had head down, like you had no idea all the gigantic war against the government was going on.
No, and I'm definitely never been I'm not anti-government. I'm like, you expect your government is somewhere you can go to, that they're looking out for your best interests.
Yes.
And this has just been very, it's almost gives you a gross feeling, because these are people that you're like, you want to phone them up, or you want to send them an email and say, hey, we've got these amazing scientists and they can prove that this is okay. And they're like, no, sorry.
Yeah.
Nope, you can't do that. And we have an option. We have ostriches that have antibodies that can revolutionize how we treat disease and viruses in the future. Mm-hmm. And we all need to try to protect them, because if it's allowed to happen on our farm, it's going to be on the next farm and the next farm. So it's I started using ChatGPT. I don't know how accurate it is and how good it is, but it's amazing when you put in there even about the CFIA and blanket culling, and it says CFIA forces farmers to destroy them, eliminating resistant genetics, setting the industry up for repeat outbreaks. So why are we? Yeah, let's see. We need to stand up, and I want to always be careful with what I say, but it's like, I think if we don't want to be eating factory meat, we need to stand up today.
Well, that brings us to something really important that happened. So the CFIA did issue that cull order. Mm-hmm. They were setting up, I don't know who, to come in and cull those things. Maybe it was this disgruntled halfwit that came by and he was out of a job. So maybe he was just disgruntled. But so they were going to do that cull order, and then they rescinded it. Now, was that, you're on the inside of it, was that a result of all of the legal action that you were engaged in, or was that a result of the fact that people were coming to camp out on your farm?
It was when we had, January 10th, we got the order saying that by February 1st, we had to have all of our animals dead by and buried, or we were in non-compliance. We were really fortunate to get a really good team kind of put together pretty quick and get the proper paperwork filed. And we, at that point, just by the squeak of dawn on January 31st, we got into court. Literally, our lawyer was running from the federal. They were trying to find a court time, someone to hear us. We were lucky enough to get Justice Batista. Justice Batista heard our plight for, please just give us a proper judicial review. Yes. And he said that he absolutely noted that the killing of all these animals would do more irreparable harm and damage to 2 livelihoods, and that we weren't given the other option, because enlisted in the policy is that, you should be given the option to vaccinate. Right. And they just went straight to the stamping out. So we weren't given the appropriate options either. So we won that the injunction on the January 31st. We had an amazing group of supporters, of 150 supporters or more on February 1st. Wow. There, which just ended up being a really wonderful gathering of love and kindness, a lot of tears, and a lot of everybody standing far back, respecting the quarantine zone, but just admiring these big, beautiful ostriches. Right after we won that in the injunction, which was giving us the judicial review, they put forth an appeal. So there is an appeal out there lingering, and they want our judicial review date thrown out. In there as well, then they also took another motion to the court for confirmation. They just wanted to make sure. They're like, so could you just tell us, are we still allowed to kill the ostriches? And they're relieved of it now, but we can still do it. And Justice Batista said, no, why would they have a judicial review if all their animals were dead? So they stay alive till the judicial review. And in their appeal, they put that our federal court judge, Justice Batista, erred in law, erred erred in principle, and he overstepped his jurisdiction.
Wow.
So, and that's our federal court judge.
Wow.
There's a lot of things that have been said during these times that make us all go, if we can't trust in our federal judge and know and have faith in him, then I feel like he made a pretty good judgment. And it's not just because we want to keep our animals. It made absolute sense. We were not given a fair chance here to deal with Canadian Food Inspection Agency on a good level that we should have been given. We should have been had way more of an open discussion. We should have had them wanting to work with us, explaining it to us more, not just throwing it at us that, because of our trading partner policies, which are absolutely outdated and they don't do anything to advance science, animal or human health. Like that's all they just kept throwing down our throat. It's the trading partner policies that's why we have to do this. So, and then that's because Canada, to maintain an avian influenza free status, and that's what we need to have to have sufficient our trading partner to trade with.
Right.
So that's why they stamp out when they notice that there's a problem. The quickest and fastest, easiest way is just to wipe out that whole area, wipe out every animal that may have been in contact with the sick ones. Don't test them and don't save any, just kill them all, because we're trying to protect our trading partners' policies. But they're not taking into, so I guess we all just get put on the welfare system as farmers, that all of our animals have been killed.
Yep.
And we just put our country backwards and backwards and backwards. And it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
No.
It really makes sense.
And with all the advances in medicine too, and in science, it really truly doesn't make sense. And the advancements that your farm alone has made doesn't make sense. So that there is a higher, more nefarious agenda at hand here, other than just human safety or our trading partners, especially when you weren't trading your meat, you weren't trading the birds. They were literally being used for scientific research. So as you said, what better opportunity to put that research to the test than with your quarantine 400 birds?
Yeah. And we're geographically, we're 135 kilometers away from a major city. We don't, I've been meaning to do it on my drives back and forth here and do a time lapse drive. It would blow your mind. You're like, when are we there? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And so geographically, we're even quarantined in our own. Like we're out there. We're respecting the quarantine. We take it seriously. We don't want other animals to get sick or whatever was happening. We wanted everyone to be herd immune. We wanted everybody to get healthy. It's the last thing you want to see is your animals die or anyone else's animals die.
Exactly.
But yeah. So during one of those visits, on your point there, they literally on camera said, "Where do you store your COVID-19 antibodies?" Why? And my mom said, what are you going to do with you want my COVID-19 antibodies? And they said, yes, everything. We will destroy everything.
Wow.
We will destroy everything because we have evidence of cures lingering around. And on that point, did any of your family get sick?
No, we've all been absolutely healthy, happy, back and forth. Me, I would be around my family, right? So my family doesn't come out there all the time, but I go back and forth. So I'm around my family. None of my family is sick. My mom and Dave, who are in the quarantine zone each day. Yeah. No, like and it just goes.
Are living proof that avian flu is not the fear-mongering, oh my gosh, it's going to kill us all, reason to cull animals. You guys are living proof that is all false. and they can't have that. So they need to destroy everything.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got them saying that on tape. Have you ever put that tape out publicly?
We've done a whole bunch of segments of those visits. Yeah. On saveourostriches.com. There's tons of their chatter. I don't know what part of, or if they had put the little blurb out, but we do have it. Yeah. It's, they even said to us when that February 1st deadline was coming, because that was when we were going to be non-compliant, that they were going to move in and they were going to kill them themselves. And remember this too, in the past, farms that have not been culled, it's because they've been understaffed. They've even said that. So it's okay for that farm to survive because you haven't had enough staff, you've been understaffed, but they're not going to, it just doesn't make sense. But in one of those visits, they say too, like we were just surprised because all of our and egg yolk from all the previous years is in our house. And we said, so you're telling us like you're going to come in our house and you're going to take the ostrich egg yolks and everything, even though it's all from years prior. And they said, we will take everything and anything to do with ostrich and we're destroying it. So it's almost like they want to just wipe us off that, we never even existed with ostriches.
Right.
It's alarming. It is alarming. Oh my gosh, there's so many things here. We have a neighbor. It's really sad because I don't know if they probably know how to prey on people who she loves to feel, I think, important. And they've kind of picked her as a informant. So anything that happens on our farm, she's taking pictures. And then there's only things so there was a deer was in eating some grass or something near the ostriches. Well, in the discoveries, they were like, there's been take pictures of deer taken in with your ostriches. Like, I don't, there's her cat. Let's talk about her cat that comes back and forth.
Oh, should we be killing her cat then?
Should we be killing her cat? No, like this, where do we draw the line? Right.
Cats.
Cat. Because it's her cat, not your cat. It's her cat.
Yeah. But it is sad because it is a neighbor. And then, you want to trust your neighbors. And if you work with us, come on, see the bigger picture. Right. But then that's where we have to be afraid. Are we going to allow the government to gain so much fear into the society and into our neighbors that we start having neighbors shooting people's livestock? Or do we educate?
Yeah.
Well, exactly. You can educate. I'm sure the local news is helping out with that. They're directly responsible for the death of that bird, and
death of Sarah.
Yeah, and the government does this stuff on purpose, right? They never used to. They used to be irresponsible with their words, but now they have actually intentionally used division for this. And now this is one of the most extreme cases I've seen so far, where somebody takes the government's words and feels it is their job now to go and kill something. Yeah. And that is highly disturbing. Yeah. And we're seeing that trend more and more. And the governments used to be very responsible with their words because they know that some members of the public will do just that. And so that's really concerning. We've proven on the show several times that the process you're going through is the actual punishment. There's a massive punishment for trying to argue with the government, not accept what they're saying. Mm-hmm. You've got common sense on your side. Obviously you do. And so they're going to do their best to do what they can to put you through the process. And that process is punishment now.
Yeah. So after Sarah's death, have you guys invested in more surveillance on the farm, or have people stepped up and said, here, we want to donate to you and we want to bring you some surveillance because we can't have your beautiful birds. We can't have this happening to Tom and Harry and anybody else on your farm ever again.
We have had a couple more people say that they'd like to donate again to help us invest in more cameras. We have a lot of cameras up. But definitely everybody can use more always.
Right.
But yeah, we've had some people step up and want to donate more. It did kind of peel off. This incident has peeled off a little bit of a scab that was forming to people, and it's made it a lot more raw again. And when they see that can happen to us, that then it's, I've said, go in support of just food sovereignty and freedom to have healthy food and healthy grown meat. And if you have a neighbor that's a farmer, go to your neighbor, knock on their door. Sorry. And just say, I just want you to know I support you. Let your neighbor know that you as their neighbor have their back, and you support them growing healthy, sustainable food that is helping keep humanity healthy and helping keep us free. So in one way, go knock on a neighbor's door if they're a farmer. Just let them know you're there for them. Share our story. Please share our story and just keep following along with us. Reach out to any media, and just say that you want them to follow this story. You don't want to see these ostriches die, because you know that they're setting a precedent, and we're standing up for farmers and food sovereignty. And then you can also support us by just donations at saveourostriches.com, which is donate at Give, Send, Go, GoFundMe. And then there is direct e-transfers at saveourostriches@gmail.com. And we are just, we don't have a printing press for money. So, but we are in this for the long haul, and we're stronger now than ever. We might be tired, but we're stronger now than ever. We have faith, such strong faith in that God is good. God is good, and God wants good to win. So together we can make a difference, but we just need to unite and stand together.
Can we ask how much you're in debt in legal fees?
Yeah, so we've paid just over $60,000 to our lawyer as of from January 16th to now. And I believe our bill owing is just about $80,000. And and then that's going forward. Now we have our written arguments and a judicial review and stuff in which we're coming up to now. So we have a lot of work to go. But I don't think that should make any of us scared. I think we're not scared. And I just this should bring us all together even stronger. And I say to everybody, I'm like, even if you feel helpless, because you don't think you can donate a lot, if everybody donated $5, it adds up really fast if everybody donates $5. So please don't feel like it's just not enough, but also prayers. If you don't have any money, please don't think you just need to do monetary donations. You can pray. Prayer, the power of prayer. I believe the power of prayer is so strong. And in your church, take this to your church, your local church. Make it a conversation about natural immunity and antibodies, and see how your church can come together.
Yeah, that's two really great ways to help. You can also share these stories.
Oh, yeah.
You've got lots of shareables out there. You've got merchandise. You can buy a hat.
Yes.
And then also be ready. If the call order does come again, be ready to jump in your car and go camping. Yeah. And we're going to just sit in and stop them from doing this. And when the people say no, the government have to back down. So this is one of those times where you can go in a non-confrontational way and stop something from happening. So plus you get to go camping. Don't camp inside the pens. I've been attacked by ostriches several times, so I won't go anywhere near them again. But there are so many ways you can help, and this is one of those times when we feel like we bash our heads against the wall. People they're numb to all of this stuff now, and there are so many causes, and you've got to at least just pick a pony, or in this case an ostrich, and go. Just help, for the love of God. Help with your money, help with your prayers, help with your time in sharing. Share this story out. This stuff gets shadow banned and this stuff gets visibility filtered. The struggle is real. It's a real thing. So you got to break through that, and you got to get this word out so everybody knows. And then again, yes, get ready to just jump in your car and support by just standing in protest and making sure this call doesn't happen physically on the farm.
Exactly.
We've had some incredible people coming out and just doing, they'll just drive out for a Saturday, and we have a little spot where people can, if they choose, it's their own risk of it's just our field, not near the quarantine. But people like to come there, and they end up they're actually meeting each other, and they're just having a common conversation of doing something good. And they have a fire for the day, and they get to take pictures from far back of the ostriches. And it's been bringing a lot of people together. And for that, I mean, I'm grateful for our animals, and I'm grateful for my mom's strength too. She's a warrior.
So moving forward, because in the hearings, they didn't allow the discovery of Dr. Byron Bridle's evidence, his expert testimony. Are you able to still bring that forward going forward? Or how will that affect your case going forward?
Not too sure. Every day it's almost like a chess game.
Right.
Yeah. And right now we're kind of just regrouping now with our legal strategy, like what we're working on. And I'll have more information probably for you by the end of the week. So hopefully you'll stay in touch with me. I'll let you guys know. And your audience know, and anybody who wants to know. I'm fine with emails as well. We also said if you're a chicken farmer, a cattle farmer, or if you are a farmer that's concerned, or if you're having, if you're just afraid or you have questions, please feel free to reach out. To hear it, you can email us at saveourostriches@gmail.com. I will answer. We will answer. And if you just, if you want to even just if you need our help or you just need some advice, we're here. Anyway, we're all one big family now. So.
And at the end of the day, if you guys can't set precedents that this is wrong, it is going to affect every single farm across this country. So this is a really important fight to get behind, to fund, to support, to share, because this is not just about our medical research and ability to do medical research in the future, but it's about our food sovereignty in the future and our ability to have farms, and not just farms, but household pets, because you have got to be... They are not going to stop at farms. At the end of the day, we know that is where they're going. We know because of Bill C-293, it's all about one world health, and that is encompassing absolutely everything up into one tiny little bow. So it is not going to stop at farms. It's not going to stop at the land, at the water. It's not going to stop at migratory patterns, and it's not going to stop at the sea. It is not going to stop until it's literally inside your home.
Right.
So we need to stop it here.
Yes, it does stop with you. Everything you need to know is right there. saveourostriches.com. Everything you need to know is there. You can donate, you can get more information, you can reach out, you can do all the things that need to, sometimes this is one of those things that can be a catalyst for a lot of things. This is a good cause to rally around. It's an easy cause to rally around. It makes sense. We've seen the tyranny up until now for the last 5 years. So just go do the right thing and help out with this cause. Yeah. So,
I am forever grateful for all of the people like you, and so is my mom, and the ostriches are too. We're our family, farm and family, are so indebted to everybody's love and support and kindness through this really hard time. So I want to thank you guys. Yeah, it's been very, very. It's nice to be able to talk about it, because I think the world needs to keep watching, and we need to keep sharing all across the world what's happening here and how we can protect each other worldwide. Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
Well, thank you for being as strong as you are, for your mom and dad, for not giving up and fighting like mad to set this amazing precedent and stop the goalposts from moving further. So thank you. As exhausted as you are, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much. And yeah, stay in touch with me, and I'll be letting you guys know everything that's happening.
Amazing. Yeah,
We'll
we're
be
happy to
praying
give
for you.
updates. Yeah, we'll be praying for you too. All right, Katie, thank you for coming on the show. Finally got you after so very long. So hang in there, stay strong, and we're all with you. So yeah, all the best.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. All right. Good night, everybody. We will see you on Thursday.
Thursday.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.